Ooh, welcome to the Rob Bro Show. I am Rob Bro. I am the host. You are the co-host. You can co-host today by commenting on the starting line chat line. The starting line chat line brought to you by Starting Line Counseling. As always, we're in the Diversified Lenders Studios. And Patrick Mahomes is the greatest of all time. I really don't think there's a conversation to be had. I know Tom Brady won 7, but with the back-to-back Super Bowls and through 7 years of a career, we'll look at the stats between him and Tom Brady. But bottom line is the inarguable part is that the Chiefs won 25-22 at overtime yesterday against the 49ers. It took 5 quarters, Carson, but it happened. What are your thoughts?
Just that, I mean, it's worth the conversation now that Patrick Mahomes is maybe the greatest quarterback we've ever seen do it. It's definitely, I mean, obviously, like you said, everybody's going to say Tom Brady, and Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen. But Patrick Mahomes has it's a different flair about him. It's a different way that he gets it done, that he can dissect a defense. There's just never a time where Patrick Mahomes is out of a football game. And even though he looked, and the offense looked horrendously bad in the first half, the defense kept him in the ball game in the first half. And we talked about this going into the Super Bowl. This is the best defense that Kansas City has had with Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback. And the defense held serve in the first half to be able to give the offense some time in the halftime locker room. And for all the things that Matt Nagy wasn't as a head coach, he is as an offensive coordinator, with Andy Reid too by his side. Putting those two minds together really paid off in the halftime locker room. Whatever they figured out in the halftime locker room, obviously minus the bad throw that Patrick made early in the third quarter, which he had a guy open. He just happened to overthrow it. It happens. But it's hard to say that Patrick Mahomes is not the best, or definitely in the top 3 best quarterbacks of all time, with Tom Brady, Dan Marino, and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's who I would put him up there with.
Yeah, and just as far as the game goes, the Chiefs defense, incredible first quarter from both defenses. They punched Patrick in the mouth early. The 49ers did.
Yeah.
I thought the best defensive quarter was the Chiefs in the third. But
agreed.
The only negative I could say on Shanahan, besides the overtime stuff we'll talk about in a second, he started with 6 straight passes in the third quarter.
Yeah.
He went away from Christian McCaffrey, and the only drives that worked for the 49ers were when Christian McCaffrey was running the ball and setting the table.
Do you think that he went away from him because of the fumble early? A little bit?
No, they came out of halftime with a new plan. Because you went Christian McCaffrey late. I mean, he's the offensive player of the year. You don't go
for a reason.
You don't go away from Christian McCaffrey because of a fumble. If you did, that's even worse indictment on him, because you don't say, "Oh, you fumbled. We're going to go to Brock Purdy." No offense to Brock Purdy, he had a good game. I thought he made some really good throws. I thought he had some really good movement in the pocket, staying in the pocket, making throws. There were some that I was like, how in the hell did he just do that? But more often than not, Christian McCaffrey is the best option. And they went away from him early in the third quarter. I really thought it hurt the 49ers. Now, it was tied at regulation. It was going to overtime. After the game, Chris Jones said in training camp, or early in the season, he wasn't there for training camp. We talked about these overtime rules. We talked about these overtime rules for 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. We talked about these overtime rules. We rehearsed. We knew what was going to happen. We wanted them to have the ball first, yada, yada, yada. Did you hear what Shanahan said after the game, and did you hear the 49ers comments after the game?
Yeah, they didn't know how overtime worked.
Oh,
that was the gist of it.
We saw on the Jumbotron that the rules were different.
Yeah.
And Shanahan said, I wish we scored a touchdown so Mahomes didn't have the ball, basically, is the gist of what he said. So he would have had the ball anyways.
Yeah, he would have gotten a chance to possess it anyways. Each team gets a chance to possess it in the first overtime, in the first possession. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about Mahomes building his legacy and what an incredible legacy it is. But has he killed Kyle Shanahan's legacy? 2 Super Bowls, he's up 10 and loses.
Man, well, I mean,
Killed
Kyle
Josh
Shanahan
Allen and
and
all these guys, these other
yeah,
quarterbacks that aren't getting the shot in the AFC.
yeah. I mean, for all the things that Kyle Shanahan is, and he's still one of the most brilliant offensive minds in the NFL.
Yeah.
Other than last night, I feel like he outcoached himself. To be honest with you, I feel like Kyle Shanahan outcoached himself by the way he thought that they were keying on Christian McCaffrey, so he went away from McCaffrey. Right? That's what we're coming up with. And when you go back and look at it, yeah, he really did go away from Christian McCaffrey, especially early. And give credit to Spagnuolo and the defense for dialing up pressure and realizing that the way to get Brock Purdy off his game is to dial up pressure, get hands in his face. That way he doesn't have time to get it to his guys. And on the back end, Kansas City was really good on the back end too by not letting Deebo Samuel and all those guys get open. And George Kittle had what, 1 catch, 4 catches. What did he have? Something 4 yards of catches in this game. So I'll have to go back and look at the receiving stats. Yeah, what did he have? He had 2 catches. Okay, 2 receptions for 4 yards.
Yeah.
And Brandon Ayuk had 3 catches, which that's, to me, he's got to have at least 5. I don't know how many targets he had. He had 6 targets and 3 catches. So you're 50% getting it to Ayuk. But I mean, one of the biggest plays of the game was right there at the end of regulation where they have Jennings just running wide open, but the right tackle, for some reason, I don't know, keys on the outside linebacker he thinks is blitzing, and he comes on a delayed blitz, but nobody picks up the edge. There's 2 guys coming off the edge.
Yep.
And Kansas City gets home and makes a play, and Purdy has to throw it early, and it's too wide for Jennings. So that's huge right there. And I don't know that goes on Kyle Shanahan. It goes on Brock Purdy and the offensive line, because the quarterback is telling out the offensive line of who we're blocking, right? Like that's what it comes down to, is the quarterback seeing the defense, pointing out the defense. But as the right tackle, why aren't you blocking the guy in front of you? Your quarterback can step up in the pocket. He only needs about 3 seconds on this play. Juwan Jennings is going to beat his guy, and he did. But you didn't do the right thing. You didn't block the right way. And that was a crucial play in the game. Much like early in the game, the Pacheco fumble was huge. Otherwise, Kansas City is there. There's 3. It comes down to 3 plays in this game in regulation, really. For me, it's the fumble by Pacheco early, which Kansas City is at least going to get 3 off of it. They probably are getting 7. And then the missed extra point that only made it a 3-point game, which ended up being huge, obviously, because that if Kansas City, if San Francisco makes that extra point, then they probably win the Super Bowl in regulation. I mean, it's that simple. But the game is completely different at that point, especially for Kansas City, with the way that they look at things, moving the ball down the field late in regulation just to go get a field goal, or you got to go score a touchdown. You're more anxious and going to try and force things more than if we're just trying to get in field goal range for Butker to go put one through. So that, and then the play there where you miss the blocking assignment and you have to overthrow the wide receiver for an easy touchdown. And then Kansas City's, able to go down and kick the field goal to tie it up.
I'd add one play.
Okay.
The punt muff.
Oh, yeah, that's big too. Yeah, because that gave Kansas City a free 7 points.
Yeah, because you score the next play.
Yeah, no doubt.
One play. And look, MVS scores a touchdown. You go to McCole Hardman on the goal line with the game.
McCole Hardman.
After the fumble,
yeah.
I mean, the set of brass stones you have to have. I thought McDuffie probably could have got MVP. He was on Deebo the whole time. Deebo had 11 targets, 3 catches for 30 yards.
Yeah, that's a great night.
Just dominated. If he would have had an interception, he might have got MVP. It kind of was inevitable that Patrick was going to get it after the 2 touchdown passes, but just an incredible showing. I thought the defense was really, really good. Underrated defensive group, too. I mean, Nick Bolton doesn't really get flowers. Justin Reed was a guy who was hanging around the Texans, was never really thought of as incredible. I know a lot of people looked at it as a downgrade when he came over after Tyrann Mathieu left.
Yeah.
And then Leo Chenal, who is he?
George Karlaftis was big too.
Right, Mike Pennell Jr. with the sack. I mean, it's just a bunch of guys. Trent McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed, two of the best corners in football this year. Then you also have Mike Edwards, 7 tackles, 4 solo, that came over from the Bucs. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion now. And he's a guy who had that huge pass deflection, I think, in front of Ayuk on that corner route 20 yards down the field late in the game, at least in the second half. So just an outstanding showing from this defense. And the defense, the defense is young and under control.
Yeah, Nick Bolton is slowly becoming one of the best linebackers in the NFL.
Yeah.
Especially in his conference and in their division. And he's 23. He's 23 years old, Rob. He's a young man.
Had a touchdown in the last Super Bowl and had some good plays in this one. Look, Patrick Mahomes, you talk about it. That contract, the richest contract in sports. His last 2 Super Bowls were the highest cap percentage against a team for a quarterback in the history of football. Back-to-back games is Super Bowls where he's the biggest cap hit of all time. I mean, this is an opportunity for the NFL to get one over on the Chiefs because, and I say this a lot, I say you can't have a quarterback take all your money. You can't field a roster like that. Well, with Patrick Mahomes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
It's quite obvious you can.
For sure.
You have Mecole Hardman getting traded back from the Jets. You can have Rashee Rice. You can have Sky Moore, who I haven't seen in months. I think he's hurt probably.
He was suited up last night. He just didn't play a whole lot.
Okay. You can have Kadarius Toney, who will not be on the Chiefs next year.
He gone.
And still be competitive. You can have Isaiah Pacheco. You can have an offensive line of really superstars inside with Joe Thuney, who's hurt. Nick Allegretti was struggling during the game, but got it done.
Struggling is a good way to put it.
That defensive line, incredible for the 49ers. Lawrence says Bosa didn't really seem to have an effect on the game.
I thought he did at times.
He did. He had a big effect on the game. He just didn't have a bunch of stats.
Right.
He forced Patrick Mahomes. He owned Patrick Mahomes around the pocket, but he just didn't get many sacks. Any sacks at all, did he?
I don't think he got a single sack.
He got a half a sack.
Okay, yeah, that's right. He finished one up with who got the other half of that sack?
He didn't get credited for half.
No, he didn't get credited for that sack.
Oh, well, he was around. He was around the mix, but I mean, 6 tackles for a defensive end, 2 tackles for loss.
Yeah,
he hit the quarterback 3 times. He was affecting the game, but certainly not like people expected. I mean, he didn't have 2 sacks, and
I thought both he and Chase Young both affected the game as far as rush lane continuity, as far as keeping Patrick Mahomes inside where you want him to be and making him. And Tony Romo made a good point about this last night. He did it in the telecast where he drew the box. Like, this is your rush lane, and you want to stay underneath him at all times so that if he does get out of the pocket, he's got to go backwards to get out of the pocket, right? And they did a good job of that, even though late in the game, 2 of the biggest plays were Patrick Mahomes with his feet, picking up a first down on a 4th down and 1 with his feet, and then picking up a big 12, 14-yard pickup late down the field before they scored the touchdown to move the football. Yeah. Those are big. And then I love the read option late in the 4th quarter too. Woo. And it really wasn't a read option. It was a definite quarterback keep call, but it looks like a read option where you don't expect Kansas City to pull that. But kudos to Andy Reid and the offensive coordinating staff for seeing that and reading that. And Patrick Mahomes, you have a quarterback who, and people talk about this all the time. We know here at Texas Tech that he can use his legs because he had to use it quite a bit here at Texas Tech. But in the NFL, he hasn't had to because he's had a pretty good offensive line. But they haven't played a really, really stacked defensive line like San Francisco has. And Patrick had to use his mobility last night. You had to get him outside of the pocket some. You had to move the pocket to the right and to the left, which you saw them do quite a bit last night, especially after the second half. In the second half, moving him around and running shorter, quicker routes, and then they just picked apart the zone. San Francisco stayed in the zone for too long, and then they brought too many blitzes, I thought, against Patrick. You can't bring too many blitzes and then run a zone defense, or bring 7 and then you're manned up across the board. That just doesn't work with who Kansas City has, especially with Travis Kelce, who's one of the best, if not the best, tight end at creating separation and getting space. And Snead's gotten better. Rashee Rice is really good at creating space. MVS is good at creating space when he needs to. So when he needs
the defense, for sure,
yeah, behind the defense. But there was a throw. Was that in the first half or the second half when Pat made that throw down the field? That there's not another quarterback that can put that throw right on the money right there. And the defensive backs even gave up on it because nobody else makes that throw. That's how good that throw was.
Yeah, the corner in front or the safety, whoever it was,
like, nah, he can't throw this far.
He rolled right. This is right before the Pacheco fumble.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He rolls left all the way past the numbers or at the numbers, stops, throws it back across the hash, 54 yards in the air on the money.
On the money.
So,
I mean, in stride.
54 yards down the field, 20 yards across the field. Unreal. All right, I've got some tweets I saved I want to read.
Okay, yeah.
This one from Warren Sharp. Patrick Mahomes has started 96 games. The Chiefs have only lost 3 by more than 1 score. 3 of 96. 93 games have either been wins or within a score. By far the best win rate we've seen in NFL history, he says, including the playoffs. Only 4 of 114 of his games by more than 1 score. At his worst, he's competitive. At his best, he's unbeatable. We're witnessing greatness. That will be a theme. Nate Burleson read off Michael Jordan's resume and Patrick Mahomes' resume 7 years into the league last night. We are witnessing greatness. Overall stats, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, 96 games in. Quarterback record, 70-24 Tom Brady, 74-22 Patrick Mahomes. Completion percentage, 61.9% for Tom Brady, 66.5% for Patrick Mahomes. 21,500 yards for Brady, 28.5 for Patrick Mahomes. More yards per average, more yards per game, obviously. 220 touchdowns to 150, rounding up. Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady. Interceptions, Brady has 15 more with 50 less touchdowns. Quarterback rating, 88
less
for
attempts.
Brady. 88 for Brady. Yeah, less attempts. 88 for Brady, 103 for Mahomes. Rushing yards, nearly 2,000 for Mahomes, 430 for Brady. Rushing touchdowns, 12-3. I mean, it's just ridiculous. They both had 3 Super Bowls. Brady went to 3 Pro Bowls in that time, was 1-time All-Pro. And Mahomes was a 6-time Pro Bowler, is a 6-time Pro Bowler, and a 3-time All-Pro. And a 3-time Super Bowl MVP. Brady had 2. Mahomes is also the AP Offensive Player of the Year and a 2-time MVP of the league. And Brady hadn't done either of those yet in his career. Just dominant.
Just facts. It's just facts.
Here's playoff stats before turning 30. Tom Brady, 3,200 yards. Patrick Mahomes, 5,135 yards. Mahomes, 41 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Brady, before 30 in the playoffs, 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Both had 3 Super Bowls. 3 Super Bowl MVPs for Patrick, 2 for Tom Brady. Now, I will say this. Damian Williams should have won the first Super Bowl MVP. They gave it to the quarterback.
Yep.
Trivia. Do you know who won one of the first 3 Super Bowl MVPs away from Tom Brady?
that
Tom Brady
were
won
on
the first
for
one
the
and the third one.
Patriots?
Yeah, for the first one and the third one, I think. Who won the second Super Bowl MVP? Do you remember?
Oh man,
It was a receiver. I believe it was against the Eagles. First time.
Was it Edelman for the catch that he made? He made that catch and then he scored the TD.
Way before that. That was the Falcons.
Oh yeah, that was the Falcons.
This is Deion Branch.
Deion Branch. Wow, that's putting it way back.
What a Super Bowl MVP, yeah.
Super Bowl MVP Deion Branch. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Funny. Whatever you want to say about GOAT and longevity and whatever else, because Tom Brady played 72 years in the NFL. Mahomes is on pace. Now, I believe, I've not seen this, but if Mahomes doesn't win another one for 10 years, oh yeah, Lawrence just said, did y'all know Tom Brady went 9 or 10 years without a Super Bowl? If Mahomes goes, the next 10 years without a Super Bowl, he's still on pace for what Tom Brady did. Isn't that insane?
That's nuts.
Now, Tom Brady went to 2 more and went undefeated in the regular season in one of those when he lost to the Giants. Now, I think Brady went 3 for 3 early before losing one, and Mahomes even has an extra Super Bowl run in there.
Brady definitely never went to 6 straight AFC championship games.
No, well, he might have in the run there, but
maybe in that, yeah, maybe. Not in his first 6 years as a starter, though.
No,
that's for sure.
One more. This one's from Warren Sharp too. The scariest part about the Super Bowl, this was supposed to be the year to knock off the Chiefs. Mahomes was the most expensive cap hit in the NFL. We talked about that. The offensive tackles were bad. Wide receiver 1 was a rookie. They were forced to play 6 straight games at a rest disadvantage weeks 12 through 17. The only time a team has had to do that in NFL history. They had to go to Germany. They didn't get a first-round bye. They had to play on the road in the divisional round as an underdog. They had to play on the road in the conference championship round as an underdog. They were underdogs in the Super Bowl and were losing by double digits. They were losing by double digits in every Super Bowl they've played. And it was the toughest path to a Super Bowl based on strength of opponents ever. They still won the Super Bowl.
It's the Patrick Mahomes. Here's the thing too: is I don't think Patrick Mahomes would be this great without Andy Reid.
No, it's a perfect combination.
It's a match made in heaven, to be honest. I mean, if you could have picked a quarterback for for Andy Reid to coach and a head coach for Patrick Mahomes to play for, this would be the 2 people who you would match them up with. Like if there was a matchmaker in the NFL where you didn't get drafted, but they matched you, like quarterbacks didn't get drafted, they just matched you with the team that best fits you, the coach that best fits you. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes fit together like a glove. Like everything they do fits perfectly with what Patrick does in Andy's offense, and Andy's offense fits with what Patrick is as a quarterback. It couldn't have worked out any better for those 2 guys. You have to give Brett Veach a ton of credit for this, for drafting Patrick, for moving up in the draft and drafting Patrick Mahomes. He may get like the best GM of the century award just for that move. Like he can do anything else. He traded away the best wide receiver in the NFL, and he's still winning Super Bowls because he's got the best quarterback and the best head coach put together.
I need to go look again. I looked this offseason or this playoff season at the Bills trade for Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
So you traded with the Bills to go up to 10.
Which man,
is even worse for the Bills.
For the Bills, yeah, it hurts.
You got front of the Texans, so double doozy there. I need to go look and see who those Dolphins picks turned into, because I'm fairly confident in saying this defense is not this defense without those extra picks.
No, guaranteed.
I think Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, Karlaftis, I think a bunch of those guys are direct results of the Miami Dolphins picks. That would take some time. I'm not going to do it live here. Maybe we come back to that later. Or you know what? I'll do it on the Gambling Gauchos tomorrow.
There you go. Yes, please do that.
You can watch the game of the Gauchos tomorrow and find out. But those Bills picks, I mean, it was like Terrell Edmonds, maybe the linebacker, the safety they had was one of them, and then the rest, I was like, who's this guy? And it was, I think, 3 picks they got.
Well, and it also allowed you to sign guys like a Justin Reed, who was a free agent from the Texans, and you were able to sign him because you don't have a big contract from Tyreek Hill on the books to be able to sign a big time guy like that on the back end. So,
and Tyreek Hill, is he kicking himself?
I would be, wouldn't you?
Or I mean, he got what, $3 million extra to leave?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
$1 million a year higher,
and then his house burned down this year.
Well, I don't think that's related, but
he wouldn't be living in Miami, and his house wouldn't have burned down if he wouldn't have got traded.
Well, his kids were playing with matches or something. They can do that just the same in Kansas City.
That's fair. Probably playing with them more because it's colder.
I think that's really what happened. I think the kid was playing with a lighter.
Boys will be boys.
Yeah, I certainly played with a lighter. I was
played with a lot more than that.
I was in some precarious positions.
We set the fire alarm off in a hotel room on a band trip once.
What was that? Bags of chips in the microwave? Is that at the Witten?
Stay at the Witten, purr like a kitten.
Is that a band trip?
3 heads. It might have been a football trip. I don't know. I wasn't in band very long. I don't remember.
Anyways, I just do you win these Super Bowls? Do you win 2 more Super Bowls without Tyreek Hill or with Tyreek Hill? I don't know. Your offense is certainly better. But this defense, I'm telling you, it matters. And I don't think you have this defense without trading Tyreek Hill. So
I agree. I agree completely.
Now, is there a wide receiver who's disgruntled, AJ Brown, that wants to go to a better team? Hey, by the way, what's happened to the Eagles? AJ Brown is pissed off, wants to leave.
There's a few guys that want out.
Did you see Hassan Reddick is
yes, he's requesting a trade. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, Jason Kelsey seems a lot happier since the season ended.
Yeah.
He was living it up in Vegas.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously he's retired. Yeah, who wouldn't? He's retired pretty much now, so he doesn't really have to worry about it. But yeah, something's going on in Philly that they don't want getting too far ahead of where it's already getting to, because once guys like Hassan Reddick, who I believe was a team captain this year, won out.
He's their best pass rusher by far.
Yeah, once he wants out, like, what does that say? Right? And of course, people started asking this, like, why did Tyreek Hill want out of Kansas City? Why was he okay with a trade? Why did he, dump the no trade clause or whatever he had on there to leave? I don't know if it had a lot to do with what the scandals and everything were going on at the time. Maybe he wanted a fresh start somewhere else. Maybe that was part of it. But for whatever it was, it worked out for Kansas City. That they were able to clear up some cap space. They didn't have to sign him to a big time deal. They were able to use that money to sign better defenders, get a couple defenders in that deal as well, with the picks. So, yeah, I think that trade, now you look back on it, at the time it was like, man, why are you trading away the best wide receiver in the NFL? Maybe Patrick's best weapon. But Travis Kelce has turned into being the guy that you can go to when it's 3rd and 4th downs, even on 2nd down when you need yards. Travis Kelce is the best tight end that's ever played the game. And I don't know that it's that close anymore, to be honest with you. Like Tony Gonzalez, he was good. He was really good. Rob Gronkowski, really good. Aaron Hernandez, take away the bad parts of his life. On the field, Aaron Hernandez was a pretty good tight end. Yeah. There's a couple others that come to mind that were recent.
Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
Kellen Winslow changed the game.
Yeah, but Jeremy Shockey was a pretty good tight end when he played, when he wasn't hurt.
Jason Witten.
Yeah, Shannon Sharp. But those guys, I don't know that they even hold a candle really to Travis Kelce and what he's been able to do. I mean, he broke Jerry Rice's record. Jerry Rice was a wide receiver and one of the best. If there was a Mount Rushmore of wide receivers to ever do it in the NFL, Jerry Rice would be up there. He would be one of the guys' faces on the mountain of Mount Rushmore wide receivers in the NFL's history. We're talking about Travis Kelce breaking a record of Jerry Rice, not a tight end record, a wide receiver record.
You talked about the perfect fit with Andy Reid earlier.
Yeah,
it's also Travis Kelce. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes without Travis Kelce early in his career. I mean, they have an incredible relationship,
and they have ever since he got there.
Now he's Travis Kelce is at least close to our age. He's certainly past 30.
He's getting up there.
How long does he play? Surely he's running it back at least one more season.
Yeah, he's already said he's coming back for one more season. He's 34. Yeah, he's our age. Yeah.
We get Taylor Swift in the mix one more time.
He's actually, Rob, he is exactly pretty much a year younger than me. He was born on October 5th, 1989. I was on the 4th of 1988. So he's exactly a year younger than I am.
Nice.
So there you go.
Couple months
yeah,
younger than me as well.
Mm-hmm.
Born in May.
Yep.
All right. Do the Kansas City Chiefs get a free agent wide receiver or a wide receiver in a few months? They will certainly draft receivers.
Yeah.
I think what Alan is asking is, will they draft a first-round wide receiver? Let me just read a few. Tell me who will probably be gone. Well, you know what? I'll just start where I think people will be around. Marvin Harrison's going to be gone. Roma Dunze is going to be gone. Malik Neighbors is going to be gone. Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU might also be gone by then.
He'll be gone by then.
All right, you ready? Keon Coleman, Florida State. Will 5 go in the first round before the Chiefs get there? Keon Coleman in the mix. Xavier Worthy and Adonai Mitchell, both from Texas. They'll be in the mix there at 32. Jalen Polk. Can we go Texas Tech to Texas Tech? He's in the mix. Ladd McConkey from Georgia.
He's a Wes Welker, Julian Edelman type guy.
Yeah,
I don't know that you need that.
6 foot 185. I think I'd rather have Keon Coleman.
I agree. He's a bigger retard. What is he? Keon Coleman, 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah. If you're going small, I like Xavier Worthy. I mean,
I like Xavier Worthy if you're going to go small. Electric. That's Mecole Hardman. Xavier Worthy is Mecole Hardman, maybe with a little bit better hands.
Yeah, Ladd McConkey, man. I just
fast.
That would be hilarious if you drafted Ladd McConkey. You
got a ton of white guys already.
Who'd you call him? Julian Edelman? I think he's more of a Hunter Renfrow. I don't think he's.
Yeah, that's fair. Hunter Renfrow is a better comp.
He's Cole Beasley.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as good as Wes Welker. Now, hey, 10 years, I might be proven wrong, but Wes Welker.
Wes Welker changed the game for slot receivers, though, really, in the NFL.
Going back to Philly, I think it comes down to leadership. The coach in Philly needs to look for a mirror. Hey, the Chiefs and the Eagles seasons post that Eagles-Chiefs game.
Yeah, flipped.
Yeah. Because in the tunnel, he screamed, oh, I don't want to hear any more Chiefs fans. Oh, you're a stalker. Yeah. Suck it, Sirianni. I hate that guy. There's, I have a coach at every level I hate. Dorkowitz is worse. But Sirianni, man, Sirianni's on a whole other level than Dorkowitz. I would rather play for Dorkowitz than Nick Sirianni.
At least Dorkowitz's team was successful this year, right?
And they like him. I don't think Eli Drinkwitz is a bad coach. I just think he's a dork.
Yeah, he is.
I don't like his press conferences.
He's not very good in the press room. No,
he's a doofus. He's a dork.
Yeah, he makes you not like him with what comes out of his mouth. That's for sure.
I would assume he's endearing to people who cheer for Missouri.
Yeah,
like he's a dork, but he's our dork. That kind of thing. Sirianni's just an a-hole. Like nobody can like that. And Philly people, they have their
Philly people are just like that though.
They're also a-holes, I think.
I mean, that's kind of what they. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's their brand. That's their fan. That's the the thought process that goes there. I can't think of the word. What is the word?
He probably has Alan Corbin.
Stereotype. That's their stereotype.
Yeah, stereotype. Yeah.
He definitely looks like it. Or
it's funny because the city's slogan is the city of brotherly love, but everybody that comes from Philly is far beyond not loving. Everybody I know that I've come into contact with from Philly is just like not a nice person.
No. Let's see. Does college baseball start next week? It starts on
this
Friday.
week.
It starts Friday. We will do our full. The Big Lubbock is really, really excited for baseball season. We will do a full college baseball, Big 12 baseball preview on Wednesday.
Facts.
Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Great. The Greenland is ice and Iceland is green. I was just looking at some mock drafts too. One of these guys on CBS.com has the Chiefs picking a corner. No way, right?
I don't think you pick a corner in the first round.
No. JJ McCarthy going 12 to the Broncos. Hilarious, please.
Not a chance.
Please.
No way. No way that's an actual thing.
I just want to read some of these. I think it was this one. They also all had the 49ers winning the Super Bowl except for this guy. Now you might go offensive tackle or wide receiver.
That's what it's either offensive tackle or wide receiver for me.
But Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, top 3. Marvin Harris Jr., Malik Neighbors, 1, 2. Yeah, we'll have plenty of time to talk about the draft, but
yeah.
Offensive tackle goes 10th, quarterback 11th, 12th. That's JJ McCarthy. All right, next wide receiver off the board is Adunze at 14. And then Brian Thomas Jr. at 17. So there's both the LSU receivers, Adunze and Harrison. So past the top 4, you might have a shot. Oh, Keon Coleman to the Bills. So
you might for Josh Allen.
You might have to get the 6th best wide receiver in the mix. All right. Also tonight, tonight, the Kansas
Chiefs hat off.
Gotta get out of the Chiefs. Get out of the Kansas.
Yeah, we're done. There we go.
The Kansas Jayhawks will be in Lubbock to play Texas Tech, and I believe the Red Raiders are favored. Texas Tech -3.5 at home against Kansas. Kansas 7-4 in conference play. Texas Tech 6-4. And I believe, I wonder if this has changed in the last couple hours. I believe Kevin McCullough and Harris are out. Is that true still?
That's what I saw as well. That was one of my points for tonight. McCullough is doesn't want to deal with the smoke coming back again. So he out.
He missed 2 games just to avoid this one. So
yeah, exactly. He was thinking ahead, Rob. He was really thinking ahead. No, I think he's really just not feeling great. Physically, his body's not dealing well with the tenacity and physicality of the Big 12 right now. It doesn't help that they haven't been as good as everybody thought they would be too. I think that has a little bit to do with it too. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Kansas rolls out there with, especially if it's without 2 of their better players and maybe 2 of their best players, the 2 best players on this team.
I've got a trivia question for you, or a game. You ready?
Okay.
Real player or fake name, Nicholas Timberlake.
That's a real player.
That's a real player getting minutes for Kansas tonight.
It's a real player.
Who is this guy? Now they just they won on Saturday. They beat whoever they played on Saturday. Who did they play on Saturday? You have it up?
They played Houston, right?
No, they didn't.
No, that was last
week. Beat somebody else.
They played Baylor. They won 64-61 at home. Yeah.
They beat Baylor by 3. Just clawing, and Nicholas Timberlake has some terrible turnovers playing like a freshman late in the game. I don't know. I think he's a senior, but I've never heard of him before.
He started.
Minutes, man. Yeah, he started. because
he's a senior.
That is one of the thinnest teams in the Big 12. Really good frontline talent, but really thin. And now they're down two starters. Two starters.
They only played 7 guys on Saturday, and really 6 guys because Brown only played 8 minutes.
I mean, that
off the bench.
And you're knock on wood, a little healthier now. Warren Washington, Pop Isaacs, Lamar Washington, all sick for a week and a half. Coach Gass was on his deathbed, it sounded like.
Yeah, Gass was not feeling great. And my dad said he saw him Friday night, I believe, at the Trinity basketball game to watch his son. And Gass was just saying, man, I was doing bad. I was down bad, man.
48 hours.
Yeah. Not good. He was not feeling good at all. And I think it was just one of those things where the flu just ran through the team. And you saw it on the floor, too. There wasn't a whole lot of tenacity. And you found a way to win at home, which is big on Saturday, which was great. But, everybody was a little bit under the weather for Texas Tech last week. Yeah. And Warren Washington didn't even play the previous game. So it was good to see him at least back.
You could tell against Cincinnati for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
That he was sick. I did not get to watch the game this weekend. I was driving back from Canyon, where my nephew plays second at regionals, heading to state. I know everybody was waiting on that update.
He gonna win.
I'll say this. Texas Tech can beat anybody in the Big 12, okay? I think they've proven that. I think you need to be at home to win, obviously. But that game against UCF this weekend, I think, was a good pacing to say, all right, you won at home, you pulled away at the end, you did what you're supposed to do. By the way, did you see the bad beat?
No, I did not this week.
That game closed at 7.5.
Oh.
You made free throws to get to 9.
And UCF game. Yeah.
They shot a nothing burger too at the end.
Yeah.
That was mentioned on the broadcast. Hacks.
Level and Hacks were talking about it. Yeah, because I was listening as well.
So that was awesome. All right. Score prediction.
Man, see, this is where I really wish that we had like a definitive if Harris was playing tonight, because he played 32 minutes against Baylor on Saturday. And if he's out and you only played 6 guys really, then that means you only are playing 5 guys tonight that got a bunch of minutes. Parker Brown's going to have to play a bunch of minutes tonight, and he's like averaging 7 to 8 minutes a game right now in Big 12 play. So it's not like Parker Brown's been playing a lot in conference. So if Harris is out tonight, and I do think that McCullough is an obvious out tonight. I think Harris is a game time decision. McCullough has already been classified as out, I believe.
Yeah. I would be surprised if he showed up anyways.
Yeah, he'll be here.
Well, I'm sure he traveled with the team. I'm just saying.
Yeah. If he shows up and like warms up and sits on the bench or acts like he's going to play.
Rothstein has confirmed no McCullough.
No McCullough tonight. That's what I thought.
Here it is. Self told me McCullough and McDowell are out tonight. Harris should try to play.
So Harris is a game time decision, basically.
Yes.
That's what that's saying.
Yeah.
That was. I'm sure he'll give it a go.
An hour ago.
Yeah. He'll definitely give it a go, I'm sure. Dang, this is tough. What's the over?
The total over 143 and a
143 and a hook.
It opened at 147.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's already down to 143.
Wow,
this is the hardest pick of the year.
Tech opened at 1.5 and it grew to 3.5. That's crazy too. I guess McCullough being out.
Yeah. Alan Corbin said he's fading his feelings and taking KU at plus 3.5. It's not a terrible bet.
I am also. I'm going 74-73.
KU.
Yeah. Frustrating.
Yeah. Give me. I just have this feeling that Texas Tech is doomed for some reason tonight. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Give me Kansas 71, Texas Tech 66.
I mean, surely the Red Raiders can't live in a world where we get 3 great things in a row, right?
Yeah, it can't happen.
The Super Bowl and this, right? We can't do it, can we?
No. That's not how life of a Texas Tech fan works, Rob.
No.
That's not how it works in this life, man. There's always something that's going to bring you back down to reality that you live in a state of constant optimism, but you're still a pessimist because of how Texas Tech treats you. Yeah.
We've been hurt before.
Yeah.
We'll be hurt again.
When you've gotten hurt so much, your heart's so scarred that you're not willing to put it back out there.
All right. We've got the score predictions out of the way. And I will say this. We don't talk a lot of women's sports on this show. We should talk more. The Lady Raiders fought valiantly, I thought. They're kind of spiraling right now. I think they've lost a couple.
They lost 4 in a row, I think. No, they won. They won last week.
They won in between, but
yeah,
they got blown out by Iowa State and then lost to the worst team in the league, UCF, at home.
Mm-hmm.
But I mentioned them to get to the softball team. I'm a huge softball team. I like the Lady Raiders. I think they're doing well. I think Gerlich is a little slow on her timeline right now. If she could tell you where she wished she was this year, I think it would be ahead of where it is. But they're 1 win away from tying last year's Big 12 win record
mark. Yeah.
So if you win 2 more in Big 12 play, which they can, they'll be better than last year. And if they get hot and win 4 Big 12 games down the stretch, they can still be a tournament team.
Right.
So I don't think they're out of it. I don't think they're bad. They're just in a rough stretch right now. But I will say this. The Texas Tech softball team starting what do they call it? Where was the Florida State tournament?
Yeah, in Tallahassee.
They went 3-2 over the weekend. Florida State, number 4 in the country, lost in a walk-off. Hit a couple of home runs there.
Riley Love.
They also lost to Charlotte 0-2, but those small schools have one great pitcher.
Yeah, and Charlotte's not a bad team. They'll be a really competitive team in the Conference USA this year. So.
Yeah, you lost them 0-2, and then you beat them 2-1. Got walked off by the number 4 team in the country, and we're up, obviously, late to get walked off.
Yeah, Riley Love hit a 2-run home run to go up 8-6.
And then
you lose 9-8.
And then you, in the first day, you won 11-1 and 9-2 in a doubleheader against Florida A&M University. Yeah. So 3-2, good showing for Texas Tech softball. And again, the non-conference is important, but you were incredible last year in the non-conference, and you fell off again in conference play because Big 12 softball is – we say this about Big 12 basketball. Big 12 softball is the greatest conference, maybe pound for pound, in sports.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that.
You have the top half of SEC football, but they don't win the national championship every year. It goes back and forth between the ACC and the Big Ten and the SEC. I think you've kind of mixed it well there in the last 10 years. They surely have won a lot with Georgia, Alabama, and LSU. But Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and some of these teams at the top.
Texas,
Baylor. Big 12, Baylor. I mean, they're a really good softball conference. So you just kind of have to hold on to the non-conference and then punch up.
And you're about to get a lot better when you include Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah, who are College World Series like stalwarts. Like those 3 teams are always in it for a trip to Oklahoma City. So
now you lose Oklahoma.
You're losing Oklahoma and Texas. Obviously, Oklahoma, the best team probably ever that we'll ever see. Patty Gasso is a phenomenal head coach.
I think
that's just going to make the SEC a lot better.
I think Oklahoma's softball team has surpassed UConn basketball. That stretch.
I agree. As a dynasty, as a women's sports dynasty, yes. Yeah. Oklahoma softball might be the greatest women's sports dynasty of all time. Maybe one of the best college sports in general dynasties of all time with what Patty Gasso has built at Oklahoma.
You think Oklahoma football with 47 wins in a row, or however many they had, 57, 47? What was it?
It was up
Whatever.
there. Yeah, whatever it was.
Some of those, dynasties that were had in college football world. This is, I mean, they are rivaling.
Yeah,
for sure.
And Oklahoma State is getting better because of Oklahoma. Texas Tech, I think they've hired the right guy in Coach Snyder. He's going to do a great job here. He's obviously learned a lot when his days at Florida State and Texas A&M, two really good softball programs. The ACC is a really good softball conference. The SEC probably is the best as far as top to bottom softball conference in the country, but the Big 12 is not far behind, especially with where they're at in the top half of the conference. And then obviously Texas Tech and teams like Tech that are slowly but surely building on some success that they've had over the past couple of years. Texas Tech went to a regional and lost by a run to LSU a few years back. So, the program's getting there. I think with Coach Snyder, they're moving in the right direction. They're doing a lot of improvements to Rocky Johnson Field. The facility is getting better. The product on the field is getting better. So he's doing a great job. You just got to, for Texas Tech, it comes down to pitching this year. It's where they'll win and lose in the circle for the Red Raiders in the circle. And they'll have a good chance this week at the Texas State tournament. They play Sam Houston, Tulsa, Texas State, and Northern Colorado, and then Texas State again. So a chance for at least 4 or 5 wins. Softball is one of those sports where you play so many games in a short amount of time that if you drop a game, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You just don't want to drop games and getting blown out where you pitch bad and all those things. It's like baseball. Some days it's not going to be your day.
Yeah.
But the way they played in the first weekend, you feel really good about where they're heading.
Yeah, Florida State, the runner-up last year,
mm-hmm.
and they got a lot of girls back. So
very, very talented Florida State team.
I want to put some context behind the OU dynasty. You ready?
Yes, please.
I just love talking dynasties. I love talking Chiefs. I love talking success. The UConn women's team had 111 straight wins. That was the UConn women that 2014 to 2017.
Yeah, Gino Arimo was just crazy.
They lost in the Final Four. Was their final loss. So that was 14.
So the year they lost to Notre Dame.
Mississippi State
on the last on the
and then I think Notre Dame beat Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Whatever it was, they won 3 straight national championships.
Because that was the year that Agumba Wale hit a shot to win a natty. Yeah.
That was a strong saying of the name. All right. So here's Oklahoma. Okay. They did not have the tournament in 2020 due to COVID. But they've won in 21, 22, and 23. They're back-to-back state champions, national champions. Sorry.
National champions, yeah.
The longest winning streaks of all time. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, Oklahoma, 23 to 24, 56 games. Arizona at 47 in the 90s. And then you have Oklahoma 2019, 41. Oklahoma 2021 to 2022, 40. Oklahoma 2020 to 2021, 40. So since 2019, they've had streaks of 40, 40, 41, and 56. And losing like one in between losing streaks.
Yeah.
40, 40, 41, and 56. 5 of the longest streaks ever, 4 belong to Oklahoma, and all of them were since 2019.
And that's including the best player to ever set foot on a college softball field in Jocelyn Allo. If you're not into softball, you think that it's not the sport for you. I would encourage you, if you like baseball, you'll probably like softball. And by the time you watch enough softball, you'll probably like it a lot more than baseball, especially good college softball because it moves so quick. And then you find players like a Jocelyn Allo who can go, and she could play at any level you want. Like, she has the best hand-eye coordination of a lot of hitters. She's on Mike Trout's level of hand-eye coordination. And I know that's a high lofted goal, but if there was ever a player in softball that lined up to a player in Major League Baseball, it would be Justin Allen with Mike Trout. She's the Mike Trout of softball. And it's a shame that professional softball isn't where it's at here in the United States. Now they go overseas and make good money and play in front of big crowds doing that. I think the sport of softball is growing, but in college softball is one of my favorite sports, especially the Women's College World Series. If you and it's in Oklahoma City, so where we're at, if you are a fan of softball or a fan of baseball, you can't make it to Omaha. If Texas Tech doesn't make it to Omaha and you're bored in July or June, late June, go to Oklahoma City and go to that stadium. There's almost 20, there's like 14,000 people that can fit in there now to watch a softball game. And that's huge.
Sit on the grassy knoll out there.
And Oklahoma City just is a perfect place to host the tournament. And the crowds are awesome. I haven't been there since they put the top decks on top of the stadium, but it's a fantastic atmosphere. College softball is one of my favorite things to watch. Yesterday they had Oklahoma State and UCLA on big ESPN because obviously the Super Bowl coverage is taking place. They have college softball on the main ESPN. Yep. And that's huge for the sport. It's great for the sport. Oklahoma State and UCLA put on a good show. Oklahoma State's going to be really tough again in the Big 12. And it's fun to watch. And Oklahoma is just insanely good. It can't be understated what Patty Gasso's done at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, when you think college baseball, you think the Vanderbilts, what they've done at Vanderbilt, what South Carolina did in the early 2000s by winning back-to-back national titles. Oregon State back in the early 2000s won a couple national titles. But there's really nobody else that compares in college baseball to what Patty Gasso has done at Oklahoma in softball. And it's not easy. She's one of the best recruiters in the country. She gets players from all over. Justin Allo, I think, was from California or Hawaii. I can't remember exactly where she was from, but best player in the country ends up at Oklahoma from the West Coast. And there's a ton of good options on the West Coast to play softball.
Yep.
So, it's a fun sport, and Texas Tech is heading in the right direction.
I think so.
Come full circle on that.
Back to Texas Tech in the professional world. We talked about Patrick Mahomes, obviously. Josh Young, World Series champion. So you have a World Series champion,
All-star,
an MVP, and a dunk contest champion all in the last year plus.
Should have had a Rookie of the Year too, but if he wouldn't have gotten hurt, you would have had a Rookie of the Year too.
Robbed.
Yeah.
Jamice Ramsey listed today. Shout out Jamice Ramsey. He made the USA Men's AmeriCup qualifying roster.
Yeah, there you go.
I have no idea what that is. I don't know what the AmeriCup is. But congratulations to Jamice Ramsey. And I don't watch G League basketball. I don't know why I just trumped there. It's not very good. They're slow. I don't really watch G League basketball. I follow them on Twitter. Mac McClung has been killing it for the Osceola Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Zaire Smith, I think he was playing for the Cleveland G League team.
He just got picked up on a 10-day.
Just got on a 10-day with Cleveland.
Yeah.
The Cavs, who I think have won several in a row. I think they're doing well. But hey, Zaire Smith's back on a 10-day.
Well, and Adonis Arms is playing for the Memphis Hustle.
First time in the NBA, I think. No, he got up with the Sixers. Zaire Smith.
Yeah, he was up with the Sixers and then he got the West Nile virus, and ever since then he's just been struggling to get back. But Adonis Arms has been almost averaging a double-double all season long for the Memphis Hustle, who's the Memphis Grizzlies affiliate in the G League. He's been fantastic.
Jared
Culver's been good for Rio Grande Valley Vipers. He's been really good. Matt Mooney's found a good role for himself overseas. Davide is one of the best players in his Italian division. So,
have you seen Matt Mooney's newest venture?
I have not.
AI robots that are guarding you in basketball.
Huh.
So it's like a hand on an arm that I guess tracks your movement.
Oh wow!
And so it's the new cutting edge basketball technology, and Matt Mooney's in it. I guess monetarily, maybe he's the face of it. I don't know, but shout out Matt Mooney.
Fair enough. Yeah, I
mean, look up the
Tech,
America. What is the America?
I would assume it's like the North America, South American countries compete in a international.
It's the FIBA
tournament?
World. It's the FIBA World Championship, the America. I guess it's like a soccer thing. Michael Carter Williams, Raekwon Gray.
Oh, Michael Carter Williams is on the same team.
Yeah,
we're talking about guys that have been in the league for a while. There, Michael Carter Williams, Burton.
I guess he's flamed out of the NFL though, or the NBA. Stanley Johnson, that sounds familiar. Matthew Hurt sounds familiar. Oh, Dusty Hannis, 2 former Red Raiders.
Little Arkansas Pig Suey Red Raider right there.
I didn't see Dusty Hannis on there.
Talk about a kid who drastically improved from the time he left campus here in Lubbock and went to Arkansas and then just became an absolute stud.
They'll host
one of the best shooters in the SEC when he was there.
They'll face Cuba on February 22nd and then travel to Havana to face Cuba on the 25th.
Oh, okay. So go to Cuba.
The America qualifying window is the first 3 to advance in the 2025 FIBA Men's America Cup. The USA will also square off with Group D opponents Puerto Rico and the Bahamas in upcoming qualifying windows in November 2024 and February 2025.
Nice.
The FIBA America Cup qualifying consists of 16 teams distributed into 4 4-team groups. Each team will play each opponent in their group twice. The finals are August 2025 in Nicaragua. So it is probably America, South America, Canada. Mm-hmm. The USA won bronze in 2022. The USA is 6-0 all-time in FIBA American Cup qualifying games. They've won the America Cup 7 times and won bronze in 2022. They have not won gold since 2017. Surely Jamias Ramsey can lead the way.
Yeah, come on, Jamias. Do Duncanville and Raiderland proud.
That's right, and Dusty Hannis.
Even though he bounced. But he did so because of the Billy Gillespie fiasco.
Yeah. There were coaching changes involved there.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all I got.
That's all I got. I'm ready to go for Wednesday for our baseball preview. I'm excited.
All right. Tune in on Wednesday around 12:31, whenever we go on. We'll talk a little baseball. I'll be out again Friday to go to Houston, leaving Thursday morning. So Wednesday will be the big baseball preview, and baseball starts on Friday. They'll play Tennessee first.
Tennessee, game 1 of the year against one of the top 25 teams in the country.
If you are in Arlington, Dallas, Fort Worth, wherever you are, and you like college baseball even a little, bite the bullet, go out there. If you're a baseball fan, I would buy a day pass.
Yep.
And if Tech plays in the afternoon, I would go to the afternoon game and stay for the night game. If they play at night, I would go for the afternoon game and stay for the night game. They don't clear out in between. You don't have to leave and come back. You just kind of have to wait for 45 minutes in between games. But
even the best part about playing there is Texas Live now. I mean, there's plenty of stuff to do around the ball if you want to walk out of the ballpark for a little bit too.
I've been to 2 of these. I went to the 2 that Tech played in so far. I'm going to miss this one, but I went to back-to-back. When they opened it in 21, it was like the first. It was still half capacity because of COVID. They went over half capacity for sure. Lots of Rangers fans were just there to watch baseball.
Because they hadn't got to watch baseball.
We'd all been locked in our houses for a year and a half, or a year at that point. But that was really fun. It was really packed and fun, and half the thing was roped off. And then last year was pretty empty, or 2 years ago was pretty empty, but still really fun. I would assume it's a little more populated this year. I think the teams are a little bit better. It was like Arizona and Michigan didn't bring any fans. And then Kansas State and Oklahoma are the two other Big 12 teams, and there weren't a bunch of Kansas State fans there either. The first year, it was Texas, TCU, Texas Tech, Ole Miss,
Rice,
Mississippi State, and Arkansas.
Oh, Arkansas, that's right.
It was an unreal SEC.
Everybody's in the top 25.
Ole Miss had a huge showing. Mississippi State had a huge showing. Arkansas had a huge showing. Of course, the Texas schools, TCU had a bunch of people there, and it was half capacity, so everywhere was open. It was awesome that first year. They've not fielded a field like that yet since, but really good. And by the way, I think Texas Tech's just going to stay there for a week after and play like UTA and somebody else the next week at Globe Life. So
yeah, I think you play UTA, and then we'll go over it on Wednesday. But
I knew the snow was coming.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, that's all I got. We'll talk baseball. We'll talk rotations and relievers, lineups, whatever else. We'll try to peg down. Maybe I give my opening day roster, you give your opening day roster lineups, and we can see who's right.
Yeah, UTA and Oregon State are after that. Yeah,
Oregon State.
Yeah,
in Globe Life. Ryan, the beauty of coming in at the end is you just get to restart now. You get to
just rewind, bud,
and go to the rest of the way. All right, thanks to the commenters there on the starting line chat line. Free 15-minute consultation at startinglinecounseling.com if you're feeling down or out. If you're a 49ers fan, if
you're a Chiefs fan and you don't know how to contain yourself.
Yeah, if you're a Chiefs fan, you don't know what's next. If your husband's Nick Sirianni and you want a divorce, and you're feeling some type of way about that, startinglinecounseling.com. They'll be there. Hey, by the way, big news coming from Starting Line Counseling. We'll have new things to share pretty soon. It's not my place to share the news, but when he's ready, maybe we even have him on, talk a little track and field.
Well, I was going to say we need to talk track and field indoors here.
The indoor season is getting off the floor already.
It just started this last weekend. Yeah, they had the meet at Texas Tech this weekend.
Michael Dingle.
Yep,
was in the finals. I think. I'm always drawn to the football players who are running because it's just crazy. All right, that's all I got. I said that 3 times, but third time's the charm. We will see you Wednesday.
Peace.